And now, the time fight fans all across the globe have been waiting for. It's the MTMV main card with your man, The Voice, as is our custom. In the opposite corner, my sparring partner, verbally, that is, because he don't throw hands, he throws shells. So, and I'm not trying to.
Now I used to box now, so
Okay, all
I
right. But
I
well,
want
you said when we were talking about Don King or you were talking about something else. She was like, "Look,
oh
I
no,
throw other things."
no, with Don King it's got to be different. Listen, I grew up around his kind.
Okay, well, e- either way it goes, we have um either the Broad Street Bully or the Butcher from Broad Street, the Iron Man of MTMV Sports, because he's on every show known to man, including pickleball, which he'll be introducing with Crispy on Sundays. None other than Wildress, the Iron One, Iron Wildress Ruffin.
You know what? Ordinarily, I would take that as shade, but Voice, I know you don't know no better. All you know is
Mm.
shade towards me, and that's okay because it's my luxurious skin and my David Ruffin like tendencies where I just always got to play the front, and that's fine. You know what I'm saying? Because I ain't got your voice, and I let me give you your intro and do it properly. I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend, the curator of MTMV Combat Sports, the 2022 Spin Awards nominee, The Voice, aka Hater McHater, because that's what voice that's what voice does now. Now I just want y'all to know the time that I put into this. I be practicing these names so I don't butcher them. I don't want to disrespect the fight community because if y'all throw hands with me in the streets, listen, it's on site. Okay, so I'm looking forward to it, man. We got some great things to talk about today. Uh, man, let's just go ahead and get into it, boys, because we got some amazing things happening. So starting off, Bellator 284 taking place at the Sanford Pentagon in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I'm sorry,
Mm-hmm.
on Friday, August 12th. You got me, boys. You got me. I'm in my head. In the card's main event, Neiman Gracie, who's 11-3, takes on Goiti Yamaguchi in a 5-rounder in the welterweight division. Now, boys, this is literally about two contenders with something to prove. Now, Gracie, who's 3-3 in his last 6 bouts, he's looking to prove he's still a top fighter at 170. While Yamaguchi is actually making his premiere in welterweight and hoping to prove that he belongs in the division. So, voice, with these two looking to make a statement, what can we expect, and who has the most to gain with a win?
What we can expect is a grappler's delight. We should expect to see lots of scrambles, lots of submission attempts, lots of changes of position. Excuse me, because both of these fighters are submission specialists. I mean, uh Goiti has, a couple wins by way of strikes, but for the most part, it's rear naked chokes and arm bars and triangles and the like as far as how he gets down. Uh, you ask who has more to gain, but first let me take a step back.
Okay.
As far as Gracie is concerned, I mean, his last name is Gracie. So, he's been doing BJJ with his umbilical cord when he was in the womb. So, that goes without saying that Neiman is a grappling specialist. As far as gain is concerned,
Mm-hmm.
I, that's hard to say. That's really hard to say because I don't know that one person gains more than the other. Now, if we're looking at it strictly from a statistic standpoint, then Goiti would have more to gain because this will be his 3rd win in a row. This will be his 2nd win at welterweight. The other win in this streak was at a catchweight, and he was moving up from lightweight. So, from the wins losses perspective and from the ability to advance in Bellator, then I would say Yamaguchi. Neiman doesn't have that same um he doesn't have he's not afforded the same kind of rewards for winning because he's been trading wins and losses ever since he fought for the belt back in the welterweight Grand Prix and lost to Rory McDonald. So he's been doing this for quite some time, or I should say he's been up and down for quite some time as far as his his journey is concerned. That was his very first loss, and since then he's just been trading wins and losses. Beat John Fitch, lost to Jason Jackson, who will likely fight for the title next. Beat Mark Lemminger, who I don't know who that is. Lost to Logan Storley, who is the interim champ. So he really needs a win and should win because all of his wins have either been against champions or title contenders. And with this being the second fight for Goiti at this weight class, he should beat him based on what he's done. Now, will he or not? That is a different story. Again, we're going to see a whole lot of scrambling, or we're going to see a stand-up war, which is kind of what happened between him and Logan. I can't say it was a war, but they stood and they threw the whole time, and Logan came out victorious. And I can't say that Neiman looked bad because he didn't. He was doing some things on the feet. It's just that Logan did a bit more. Um, we will see what happens when the pin drops, the cage door locks, the thumbs go up, and they start the clock.
Yeah, I was taking a look at some numbers here for this bout. So this combined, they have 16 submissions in Bellator. So this is literally the highest total for a pair of opponents in promotional history. So Gracie actually has sevens with sub ties with AJ McKee, which is the most in Bellator history. Now, interesting stat here is that they have neither man have zero losses by finish. So that's definitely going to be an interesting bout going in. And I believe Gracie actually is 4 years Yamaguchi senior. So I think it's going to be a great fight either way. I would love to see Gracie bounce back. I mean, the fighters that you named, and it didn't really sound as exciting as it probably is, but I think it's going to be a tremendous bout.
Yeah, it again should definitely be. If you like grappling, if you like slick submissions, this is the fight to watch.
Okay. Now, also taking place on that card is going to be Valentin Moldavsky versus Steve Mowry. Now, after signing his multi-year contract with Bellator, Steve Mowry is actually looking to extend his undefeated streak when he literally takes on a man who's tied for third in the heavyweight division in bout wins. Now, Voice, with Mowry signing a new contract and looking to dominate the division, I have to ask from looking into this before our show, a lot of people are questioning, is this the perfect bout for him?
Is this the perfect bout for
Mowry?
I can't say that it's the perfect bout for him because Moldavsky is coming off of a title loss. He was going to unify titles with Ryan Bader. He was the interim champion, won that against Tim Johnson, and then got knocked out by Ryan Bader, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I know he lost to Bader, but I think Bader knocked him out. No, it was a decision. It was a decision. He knocked out Fedor, which is who Moldavsky trains with. So that's where the confusion came in on my part. But again, he's in that title contention range. He's been doing the thing. It's perfect for Maori in that if he wins, he ought to then be in title contention. But I don't know how perfect that is just from a competition standpoint. I think back to someone like Johnny Eblin,
Mhm.
who he was right around that same area, 10, 11 wins, no losses. Then he gets thrown in with the champion, and he won. He beat Gegard. He's the man now. Now, again, Moldavsky is not the champion, but he did hold an interim championship, and he's one fight removed from fighting for the full championship. So again, it bodes well for Maori if he were to win, and if he were to lose, he doesn't lose that much. So from that perspective, it is a win-win, because again, a win helps him tremendously. A loss doesn't hurt him that bad.
Mm. Okay. Man, it definitely definitely sounds sounds good when you describe it, but I mean, from everything that I've read up on it, they're making it seem like he can be the most dominating person in the sport moving forward. So,
He might be the most dominating in Bellator, but in the sport, especially at heavyweight,
mm,
you still have the predator out there, and until he decides not to fight or his skills diminish greatly, he's the most he's the most imposing man in MMA, much less in the heavyweight division. But can he win in Bellator and become their flag bearer? Yeah, he's got that ability, but he's got to win this fight, and he really needs to do so impressively. Um, he's got some skills both ways.
mhm.
Most of his stuff is uh, via submission. He's got some decent submissions in there. Triangle chokes, arm triangles, Kimuras, Americanas. So he knows his way around the cage as far as grappling is concerned. And then he's got a couple knockouts as well. But the most notable, well, I can't say it was the most notable. His last win, which may have been his most notable, was over Raheem Cleveland, who's a former Victory Fighting Championship champion, on a regional stage. That's it. He beat Gokhan Sarkam, who also fights on this card. But yeah, I mean, he really needs a signature win. This would be a signature win if he were to beat Moldavsky.
Okay. It's definitely understandable. So before we get into our next bout, which actually goes into Saturday, we like to give you the full rundown. I'll be remiss if we didn't mention the PFL postseason continuing with the 2022 PFL playoffs. That's definitely going to feature the welterweights and heavyweights in action. I believe that's the semifinals. Voice, is there anything we should be looking for in those bouts?
Just looking to see who advances um to the finals. In the welterweight division, the usual suspects, they really aren't there like normal. I'm not sure if Rory McDonald is indeed in the playoffs. I think he is. If so, then obviously he bears watching. I know my man, the one who has won everything over the past couple years, and really one of the faces of um, the PFL, uh, Ray Cooper the third.
Mhm.
He's not had such a good go of it so far. So things could be interesting because unless Magomed Karamov um, takes it all again, you could see a new champion in the welterweight division for PFL.
Okay. That's definitely going to be exciting. Make sure you stay tuned for that. That's actually going to be on ESPN Plus, Aaron. It's going to be live from the Motor Point Arena in Cardiff, Wales. So that's definitely going to be exciting. Now, moving into Saturday, This one I'm excited to talk to you about because it's this one is spicy. I love this one. We got Dominic Cruz versus Marlon Vera. That's going to be taking place at the San Diego in San Diego at the Pachanga Arena. I think I butchered
Yeah,
that.
that you no, you didn't. You didn't. You didn't. The butcher is still in the shop. You might be sharpening your tools, but the butcher has not stepped out on the street
I
to
was
do the thing.
I was trying to make sure that was right because when I think of Pachanga, I always think of Carlito's Way. If you ain't never seen that movie, but whatever. The bout is going to be filled with a little animosity and a lot of bulletin board talk leading up to the fight. So Dominic the Dominator Cruz is actually has actually been in the media speaking about Vera as though almost dismissively. So Vera has constantly voiced wanting to face Cruz in the past. He's claimed that Cruz has avoided a fight with him when waiting to make previous matches. Now, Cruz, we all know, is a two-time UFC bantamweight champion. And his comments, he stated the animosity from Vera is not only unwarranted toward him, but it's not genuine. He stated that Vera just feels dismissed and wants to be heard, but he plans on proving him wrong. Voice. This is all over the place. Vera has been very vocal in the media and stating not only does he want this match, but he plans to knock Cruz out. What are
Mm.
we what are we looking forward to here? And who's right here? Is Cruz right or is Vera right?
Cruz is one of the most intelligent, articulate people in the game. From a commentary standpoint,
Mhm.
he can really break things down. Um, he missed the mark on this one though, because whether I if what he said is true regarding Vera feeling overlooked, then there would be reason for animosity if you feel overlooked, especially if you feel ducked. That would be true. That's not manufactured. That could be very, very genuine. So, in his analysis um, of Vera's uh, of his being upset. I can't think of a better word for that right now, but of his ruffled feathers, he kind of missed the mark on that one, or he may have missed the mark on that one. Um, Chito, Chito is not quite Danny Sabatello, but it doesn't take much for him to get up for a fight and for him to not like someone
Oh wow.
that he's fighting. So and I can't really think of anyone that he's fought where there hasn't been some level of animosity. You know, a little bit on the Diaz side like that, maybe a situation where as soon as the we sign on the line, then I don't like you. But then after I beat you or you beat me, I can respect you and we can we can go our separate ways, or we can go and enjoy a libation post fight. Not sure. But yeah, again, I don't know of many people that he's fought where he hasn't had some animosity. And even if he hasn't fought him, he's shown animosity. I know I think of what's the guy that they've been pushing super hard with the rainbow bright hair? Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley. Oh boy, you talk about him talking bad about O'Malley. I mean, like you have been really a lot of what he's saying in this situation with Cruz. You're ducking me. You've been protected. You don't want this smoke. But I want all the smoke. And I'm trying to be the poster boy, and I am the poster boy for Ecuador. I am that dude. So, come fight me. Come see what all this is about. You say I'm blowing smoke. Come see whether I'm blowing smoke or not.
Ain't nothing wrong with a little Apollo Creed like talk before a fight. If he feels like he's ducking him, I'm all for it, man. Maybe you are ducking him, but it sounds it sounds exciting. But the funny thing about it is that Cruz went as far as to say we've worked together before. He's a nice guy, and I like him. And on the other side, there's like basically. I want you get into the ring. I'm planning on knocking you out. So that to me, that's hilarious, especially considering the fact it's very WWE voice, and that's something that you don't like in WWE. So
No, okay.
are you a
Well, no,
Chito
you're
fan?
right. You're right. You're right. I don't like WWE, and that's because back in the day when I was watching pro wrestling, um, I was a WCW / NWA kind of guy. So,
Oh
I mean,
wow.
I dealt with WWE, a little bit, but my preference was NWA and WCW. So,
Showing
you,
your age with NWA, sir.
NWA is still around.
Yeah, it is. It is. They're holding on by a thread, but they are. Now, on the undercard of the UFC Fight Night 41, we have Voices marquee matchup. We have Nate Landwehr versus David Onama. So, Voice, give us your Voices marquee matchup. Tell us why and what we're looking for. I'm excited to hear about this.
This has more to do with Onama than it does Landwehr. I just have to be totally transparent regarding it. Onama, the silent assassin, has only lost one time in his career. And coming out of Glory MMA, where now salute to James Krause, the leader there at Glory, he recently announced his retirement from the sport. Said he would lose money fighting if he actually fought. So he is focusing on making others great. And one of the ones that he's trying to make great is David Onama. Um, Again, Onama's only lost one time. That was to Mason Jones last year in the UFC, in his UFC debut. And that's not uncommon. A lot of times under the bright lights, things can kind of be shaky. You can have an adrenaline dump. A lot of times those first fights are short notice fights. So, a lot of different things can happen. That first fight is not uncommon for someone to come in the UFC and lose. But this will be his third fight this year. Started it off knocking former Tough Latin America, which Ugly Benitez in February, then turns around and secures a arm triangle choke in July. Now, turning right back around, almost less than a month's time and taking on Nate Landwehr. He's on a tear. No pun intended. Not Landwehr, but Onama. He's on a tear, and he's really being presented as one to watch and an upcoming fighter to to join the already crowded ranks there at featherweight. Landwehr, on the other hand, he um
I mean, he is coming off of the performance of the night from UFC Vegas 40. So
yeah, he is coming in off of that performance of the night Anaconda choke win. Um Absolutely, that he had that happen, but that was last year.
yeah, that was
So,
October 16th.
yeah, it's been a minute since he's fought, and he lost just before that to Juicy J, Julian Erosa. He's been trading wins and losses over the last five. And that's the reason why I'm like, I don't know. I mean, granted, did he beat Darren Elkins? Yes. Is Darren Elkins an easy out ever? Absolutely not. But he lost to Herbert Burns, who couldn't finish his last fight because he was exhausted. And he lost to a perennial journeyman in Juicy J Erosa. I mean, he was on the Ultimate Fighter. I don't think he got picked up from that one. Went back to the regional scene, came to the UFC. I think he was on the Contender Series, back in the UFC. So, he's kind of been all over the place. And to lose to him, just, yeah, it's not the greatest of wins. It's a nice name, but not the greatest of wins. Training out of MMA Masters. He's going to be prepared for this fight. But with James Krause is like a cheat code. Having him in your corner is
Mhm.
like unfair. Just look at what the interim flyweight champion did in gaining said championship on the last pay-per-view. Yeah, James Krause is no joke. Combining that with the fact that Onama has skills and can do it both with strikes and submissions,
Mhm.
that's why this is the Voices Marquee matchup. It's because of Onama
Yeah,
and the James Krause connection.
yeah, the bout was previously supposed to take place in March, but I think Landwehr actually had to pull out for an unknown reason. But Onama literally comes in as a heavy favorite, and he was a replacement in this fight. So the odds makers are literally agreeing with you. And like you said, Onama's 2-0 since his loss to Mason Jones. He had a win with a submission and a knockout. So uh I'm looking forward to see how Landwehr steps up to it, because Onama looks like he's on a mission.
Yeah, and just uh to share again why this is the Voices Marquee matchup. One of the criteria now, you said him being from Kansas City. Now I will give Glory some love, but that is KC. It's not St. Louis, but it's kind of close enough for fights to root for them because they're in state. But Onama, outside of his loss to Mason Jones, has never needed the judges.
Mm.
He's either won by strikes or submission or somebody hurting himself. And it's been fairly even as well as to his method of victories. So yeah, he's definitely one to watch because the ability to stop is there, and that means that the probability of getting a performance bonus is high.
Huh? Ain't nothing like a performance bonus. Well, rounding out the amazing fight weekend, we have Teofimo Lopez versus Pedro Campa, and this is going to be a junior welterweight bout. That's definitely bound to excite. Now, this bout is actually scheduled to take place at the Resort World Las Vegas in Vegas. Teofimo makes his first fight appearance since his loss last December to George Kambosos. Now, while Campa may not be the bigger name that Lopez has fought in recent years, Campa does come into this bout with a 34-1 record with 23 knockouts. Lopez recently stated that despite the loss to Kambosos, he is, and I quote, the greatest of my era, and I will prove that Saturday.
Mm.
Now, voice. Lopez is pretty confident coming in with a possible Ryan Garcia bout in the near future after Golden Boy stated that they don't plan to wait on Tank Davis. So where does Lopez rank in the current era? And is he right to be this confident after the split decision loss to Kambosos last December?
As far as where he ranks, um, that remains to be seen. This fight is being contested at 140, which is something that Teo has said that he wasn't going to be too long, or it wasn't going to be too long that he would be in the lightweight division, that he would make a move up to 140.
Mm-hmm.
If he does well and he looks good here, fighting someone like a Regis Prograis while waiting to get a crack at Josh Taylor, or fighting I forget his name right now, but it's the guy who Taylor beat to become the undisputed champion. Actually, Taylor just dropped one of the belts, and he's going to fight for it. Latino guy, his name escapes me right now. But fighting them, all of that could be in the mix. Now, granted, would he get paid more if he were to make 135 and fight the four crown princes? I'll call them, because they really aren't, can't say that they're kings as of yet, such as we had the four kings back in the late 80s and early 90s. But is there more money to be made there? Yes. A fight with Tank Davis, a fight with Ryan Garcia, a fight with Devin Haney, even if Shakur Stevenson moved up, all of those would be huge, absolutely huge. Not saying that a fight against Josh Taylor or the other gentleman whose name escapes me right now wouldn't be big, but really 135 is where all the sizzle is right now, as far as lighter weights are concerned in boxing. So he's got, again, it's a wait and see deal. Will he stay at 140? If he does, there's some work to be done there for him to establish himself and to get into one of those bigger fights. Wouldn't be as difficult at 135. Oh, I forgot, about the guy he beat to win it all, Lomachenko, but Loma might be moving back down to 132. We don't know. But like I said, 135, when you're looking for a fight, a notable fight, something that people are going to get up for, that's where it is. That's where it is. But will he fight at 135? That's the question. Now, Campa, let's give him his due. 9 of, or I should say, only 11 of his victories have gone the distance. 23 of them, he has knocked them out. His one loss was a knockout loss, though, as well. That was a while ago against Carlos Jimenez. That was, about 5 years ago. Since then, he's either beat everyone or, it's been like a draw or something of that nature. And he's riding a 2-fight knockout streak into this. Matter of fact, he's knocked out 3 out of his last 4 opponents. So he's got a chance here. And not only does he have a chance in doing all of this, his fights have been at, or around that 140 range where, he's been competing at 140 the vast majority of his career. This is the first time Teo's fighting at 140. How's he going to look? Why is he fighting at 140? There are so many question marks, especially with Teo. Much of the loss has been his loss to Kambosos, that is. Much of that has been attributed more so to turmoil, which is well documented. I mean, all kinds of turmoil between himself and his father. Them not liking his wife and just all kinds of craziness. And he said he had to take off to get his stuff together. He didn't say stuff, but you all know how your man the voice gets down. So if he has his stuff together, he's dangerous. Because when even through all that turmoil, he was undefeated until he slipped up against Kambosos.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, again, it remains to be seen. And much of that has to do with what Teofimo Lopez shows up. Generally, though, even if it's not the best Teofimo Lopez, the worst Teofimo Lopez should beat Pedro Campbell.
Okay. So what's interesting is listening to De La Hoya talk and his frustration with Tank Davis and the Ryan Garcia fight. He mentioned coming to the Teofimo bout to potentially create a bout between Lopez and Garcia. Now, the interesting question I have for you is, if those two face each other and Lopez beats Garcia, does that line him up for Tank Davis next?
I don't know, because and I get in a lot of trouble regarding this. Crispy, I didn't see these things, but for your sake, let me acknowledge the fact that yes,
they were both great.
You brought wrestling. and we're not talking wrestling anymore.
Me and Crispy gonna have a show on here where we talk about wrestling. I feel it.
Hey, feel free to do it. Let me know when it is so that I can go take a nap or do something else productive with my life.
Wow. You know what, voice? That's okay. Let's get back to this thing. Lopez versus Davis. Does this happen
Mhm.
if he knocks out Garcia?
I, I don't know. You really can't say because, and I know I'm going to get some hate for this, and that's okay. I'm a big boy. I can take it, and I've already run into them anyway. Um, the PBC acolytes, they stand hard for their organization and for the fighters that are under that umbrella.
Mm.
Which, don't get me wrong, depending on the division, that's a good thing. That's a good
Right.
thing. Welterweight, they've had a corner on the market for the past, at least 5 years or so. So from that perspective, I get it. That's cool. In some of these other divisions, though, where they don't have as many fighters, it gets questionable because they don't necessarily want to play with anybody else. It's like if we can't keep all the money in house, then no. We're just going to keep fighting these fights in house until we can't do anything else, or until your contract runs out, Terrence
Mm.
Crawford, and we can get you under the into the fold to have the fight, which that still hasn't happened. And I don't know why it hasn't happened and what's going on. It's taking so long to get this fight done. I don't know, but again, like I said, I know that the PBC acolytes out there will not be happy with me saying this, but it's the truth. It is. The only person that they let go to fight across the street was Lord, he retired after it. Sean Porter. Sean Porter.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay.
when we see what Errol Spence did to Sean Porter and um what Bud Crawford did to Sean Porter. Now
Now,
again, that's fighting math, and fighting math does not always add up. But yeah, Porter
but in
retired
Sean's defense,
after that
in
whooping.
Sean's defense, he was a little older though, wasn't he?
He was a little older, but his father also called the fight because he knew it's like, look, son, this ain't it. You don't have it. And they know Crawford. They knew Crawford. Crawford really didn't want the fight because of their history together. But it was like, look, I gotta fight somebody, and you're the biggest name. And then he went in there and whooped him like that, which is another reason why I was like, look, I hadn't seen Bud whoop up on a whole bunch of people for some years. It ain't gonna be like that for you, son. It's done. And I don't like how you was training. You need to train harder because I knew you was fighting the best that was out there. It wasn't like when you was fighting Spence. Now I'm being boxing fans, fight fans know that I'm being facetious right now. Please know that I'm being facetious. But he did not like how he was training for that fight. We didn't hear that about the Porter fight. I mean, not Porter, the Spence fight, even though he lost that one too.
Mhm. You know what? I don't have anything to say about that because all I can think about when you say that is Larry Holmes and Muhammad Ali, and it was the same thing. It didn't happen. Anyway, fight fans, we thank you for staying with us for another great episode of the main card. You can catch us live as you see every Tuesday, 7 p.m. You can also get us on the fight night update on MTMV Sports. It's 10:30 a.m. And we're gonna be discussing Tyson Fury's unretirement so that he can have a trilogy fight that makes no sense to anybody. And all Tito T's may potentially have a fight on the decks also. Voice, I appreciate you. Another great episode. You giving us all the nuggets that we need to prepare for a great fight weekend. Take us out, sir.
Well, one of the things that we're enjoying right now, and this is the season, summertime, we get Dana White's Contender Series on Tuesday night. And on this week's episode, you have Bo Nickel, highly decorated wrestler, in his second professional bout fighting on the Contender Series. This is normally, and I'm surprised that he's on the Contender Series. I believe that his first fight was with a promotion that was on UFC Fight Pass, because Dana is trying to take a play out of Scott Coker's book. The decorated wrestlers go to Bellator, i.e., your Ed Roos of the world, and the ones that are coming up, your Aaron Picos of the world, your Joey Davises. They normally get the Romero Cottons. I could go on, but they normally grab those burgeoning wrestlers in Bellator, at least as of late. And the fact that they were able to kind of snag Bo Nickel, or possibly snag Bo Nickel, is it says a lot. So I look forward to seeing how that plays out. And even with this being his second win, I'm sure he will be getting a contract if he is to get the victory.
Well, there you go. I mean, last week we got B. Joe Piper, so I'm looking forward to seeing what
weeks ago.
What impassioned speeches we get next. Because Dana's been all over the place this week in the media, so it's always exciting whether you like him or not.
Quick question for you. Speaking of Dana White and the media, what's your take regarding him being in social media recently and Tyson? Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, so I knew that this was coming a long time ago, because the whole thing with Hulu has been going on with Tyson for a while. If you have a supportive friend who's willing to stand for you, be it. It's not many times where you see Dana White in a positive light in that manner. So I can only take it for face value. As a Tyson fan, I'm kind of torn, because of course you always want to see something great about Tyson. You want him to get his flowers as much as possible. But for them to take his story, that's not something that I can approve of. And also, I know that Jamie Foxx is actually working on a story also, that he's trying to get to the theater. So, I mean, that I don't have the things to say about Dana White, so I commend Dana White for that, because I'm sure there was a lot of money thrown his way to
millions of dollars,
to compromise his friendship with Mike. So, to me, that's a tremendous thing. I'm glad to hear that body for Mike, who has some kind of power.
Cool.
There you go.
That's a perfect place to end.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another amazing episode. Voices thrown to me. You couldn't on my hat today. Crispy is getting started. He's coming in to talk WWE.
I'm gonna throw
Crispy,
shade.
we're gonna talk WWE, boss. Don't pay attention to the voice, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm taking a page out of Crispy's book. You working with that McDonald's Wi-Fi right now, coming in and out of things. But yeah, and you said that I'm starting to hate against you. They call me Reverse Flash because they say I hate on everything. It's not that I hate. I'm just an observant person, and I share my observations. That's all. And
I just want y'all to know
be that my observations generally are about the things that are out of place.
I just want you to know I be breaking my neck for y'all. I got the one I pay extra for the Wi-Fi for y'all. You know what I'm saying? I got the Ethernet right now. We're storming outside. I'm risking life and limb to share this luxurious skin, these great thoughts with y'all. And you see voices contacting me. One day I'm gonna have my comeuppance. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for another show with us. It's the man, the myth, legend, the voice. Your man will just MTMV Sports, the main card. Voice, go ahead and give them your catchphrase, because I ain't feeling you right now, boss.
Hey, well, feeling me or not, for all of the fight fans, until next time, fight the good fight.